This is Ingraham from a busy Washington tonight. We're going to start right off with the lies of the left. That is the focus of tonight's angle. All right, here's an angle rule of thumb. Whenever a Democrat in an election year claims to be a sensible moderate or claims that he's going to challenge his party's orthodoxy, he's lying. National Review's headline today made me howl. Moderate Democrats come out against Biden's out-of-touch student loan forgiveness. They go on to quote Ohio Democrat and Senate candidate Tim Ryan, who claimed yesterday that the Biden debt cancellation sends the wrong message to the millions of Ohioans without a degree working just as hard to make ends meet. Now, Ryan thinks voters are really stupid. He voted with Pelosi and Biden 100% of the time this Congress. Yeah. And yet now, because he's running against a real populist in J.D. Vance, he's tried to morph into being one himself. It's all lies. The truth is, if he's elected, Ryan, just like all the other pretend moderates out there, will be another sure vote for the Biden agenda. And Biden's doddering demeanor is so bad these days that Democrats who are up for re-election are saying, thanks, but no thanks, Joe, to any personal appearances by the leader of their own party, if you can believe it. Mark Kelly in Arizona couldn't bring himself to tell the truth when asked about Biden joining him on the campaign trail.
I'll welcome anybody to come to Arizona, travel around the state at any time, as long as I'm here, if I'm not up in Washington in session, and talk about what Arizona needs.
Of course, that's a lie. He and most every other Democrat running in a competitive race wants Biden and his 41.5% approval rating nowhere nearby. Now, the other lie is that somehow Biden has, turned the corner, right? He has Joe-mentum. He has renewed focus, and he really has the wind at his back. Really?
They want a national ban. They want to pass a legislative national ban in the Congress. If the MAGA Republicans win control of the Congress, it won't matter where you live. Women won't have the right to choose anywhere. We'll codify Roe v. Wade.
This really is all Biden and the Democrats have to run on. They don't have a plan to raise your standard of living or to tackle the fentanyl surge at the border. No, no, no. But they have a plan to facilitate more abortions in the United States. They don't intend to save you from inflation or the cartels, but from Republicans in places like Mississippi and Oklahoma who want to protect the unborn. Look, they can't run on their real agenda. Banning gas-powered cars, banning beef, open borders, of course, the sexual indoctrination of kids. So they're running on the abortion lie. It's all poor Beto has in Texas.
Women all across Texas are no longer free
to make decisions about our own body.
No longer free to choose if a pregnancy is right for us
or our families.
And women will die because of it.
All because of Greg Abbott's abortion law.
It's too extreme.
First of all, I wouldn't have used the heartbeat background, sound effect. I think that didn't work. They need something, anything to grab onto to avoid being swept away in a red wave. So no surprise that they're attributing their win in one special election to abortion as well. And suddenly, the results in New York's 19th district, where Pat Ryan beat Mark Molinaro, have overwhelming significance.
He made abortion rights a central focus of his campaign. This was a big test for Democrats who are hoping that this becomes a driving issue and mobilizes voters in November.
They're seeing that abortion is a good and effective, for them, argument against the attacks on the economy.
Supreme Court nuking abortion rights has shifted the midterm momentum to the Democrats.
Well, it's either a lie or wishful thinking, because the truth is the outcome here turned on a single county. And guess who was executive for that county? Yeah, the county executive was Pat Ryan. In fact, Democrats have been pointing to the 4 special elections that swung their way since the Dobbs decision as proof positive that abortion will lead them to the electoral promised land. But as Dave Wasserman of Cook Political notes, those 4 districts have something in common. Dem's successes in these specials have been fueled by high engagement in college-heavy enclaves like Lincoln, Nebraska, Rochester, Minnesota, Ulster County in New York, and Ithaca, New York. Pockets not all that representative of the larger fall electorate. Not to mention that in poll after poll, voters have signaled that their number one concern is the economy, And, well, wait, where does abortion fall? According to Pew, it's the 8th most important priority behind things like education, safety, and Supreme Court appointments. But you got to hand it to the Democrats, I think, that because as Republicans in leadership, they gripe about the quality of our candidates. Democrats, no matter how bad things look, no matter how dismal they are politically, they just put on a happy face.
We're happy. It feels good. Feels good. We had this sort of season of shame where Democrats were just so disappointed and frustrated with what's going on in D.C., dismayed by the Republicans. We've gone from disappointed to determined now because Biden is winning.
If he's not lying, he's delusional. For Biden to be winning, he would need to be improving the lives of the people he's supposed to be serving, the American people. But how are the American people feeling about things under Biden? Well, a majority is saying that America's best days are behind her. 74% say the country's on the wrong track. If that level of pessimism qualifies as winning, I'd hate to see what losing looks like under Biden. But when polls begin to tighten, as is already happening in Pennsylvania, I'm telling you, Democrats, prepare for this. They are going to look even more desperate, become even more desperate. Beyond abortion and their professed belief that Biden's agenda is actually popular, their other go-to lie is the smear of millions of their fellow Americans. The radical governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, doesn't want to debate Republicans on the issues. She only wants to demonize them.
We're fighting to bring government back to the people and out of the hands of dictators. And we're here to say that the era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro, just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong. You don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers.
Not New Yorkers. Think about that for a moment. This from a woman who treats illegals as full-fledged citizens, but now tax-paying residents who disagree with her politically, they actually don't even have the right to live in this state. She actually believes that, by the way. But luckily for the GOP, there's a governor who knows how to flip the script on the true dictators.
We protected people's freedoms, jobs, businesses. We made sure kids could be in school, and we liberated 22 million Floridians from local mandates and restrictions. We protected them against vax mandates. I think the people that are dictatorial are the ones that want to lock you down.
Bingo. The same people who were fine with shuttering schools, devastating education and the mental health of our young people, fine with forcing police and nurses off the job for idiotic vaccine mandates, are now calling Republicans extreme.
Voters are excited to defeat these extreme Republicans who are running for Congress.
Do you feel like Republicans have sort of misread the landscape? Because, I mean, they're still talking about crime and inflation.
They are misreading the landscape, and Democrats are doing something that, Joy, that we don't always do well, which is we are defining the Republicans for their extremism.
You're getting the theme here? But you know what is extreme? Robbing children, especially disadvantaged children and minorities, of the opportunity to go to school, all because their parents refuse to get them a COVID shot they don't want and they don't need. That's dictatorial. And this is precisely what the venal and heartless mayor of D.C., where we are right tonight, Muriel Bowser, is mandating. Not only is she blocking any students who are unvaccinated from attending school, she won't even let them learn virtually because apparently you can get COVID from the Zoom. So for more than 40% of black students who are unvaccinated, no education for you. You want to talk about Jim Crow? That's Jim Crow. It's not just extreme, it's vindictive. And I bet she has a hate has no home here yard sign in front of her residence to boot. Rewarding the elites, fighting to kill the unborn, and the demonization of your fellow Americans, that is one hell of a national strategy. So I say, keep it up, Democrats. Keep telling yourself those lies. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.